Welcome to part 4 of our Deep Water series of short talks. My name's Ned, and in this session we'll explain how and why XR works and how you can get involved. Please do join us. We need you. You might think, what can one person do? But every one of you is needed because our planet needs us all to work together to turn things around. It's the only way it's going to happen. XR also works alongside other movements, organisations and groups with common objectives. If you're part of one of these groups, please talk to us. We are stronger together. Every day we don't act, the impacts of climate change grow more devastating and harder to manage. And as Banksy said, from this moment, despair ends and tactics begin. We don't have a moment to lose. Things have got to change. If we do nothing else, we need to stop CO2 emissions caused by burning fossil fuels. Everything else is secondary, because if we don't do that, then we fail. It is as stark and straightforward as that. Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. We've all tried petitions, we've supported pressure groups, we've tried writing to our MPs, we've done the marches, we've recycled, we tried to shop carefully, and it's just getting worse. The truth is that our individual changes pale into insignificance against the emissions caused by our use of energy, our transport systems and methods of food production. We are made to feel guilty about what we do or don't do and to judge others for their lifestyles. But the people with the real power to stop climate change are failing us. Saying it is down to individuals is just a smokescreen for massive corporate greed at any cost. Our governments, banks and fossil fuel companies are giving us empty words. We have to demand change. We have to do something different before it's too late, because it very nearly is. So, we need a different approach, and that approach is irreverent, honest, brave, hard to ignore, bold, determined, thought-provoking, rule-breaking, non-violent direct action and civil disobedience. Gandhi organised an Indian rebellion against British rule. Rosa Parks famously refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white person and triggered the American Civil Rights Movement. And Martin Luther King organised that movement and mobilised huge numbers of Americans to force changes to racially discriminatory laws. These people, and the millions who surrounded them, are regarded as heroes now, but at the time they were often vilified as criminals for breaking the law. The truth is that throughout history, elites with power and money tend not to give away rights without being pressurised to do so. Think of the universal vote, women's suffrage, gay marriage rights, racial discrimination, desegregation, liberty from colonial rule, equality under the law. Think of apartheid. Think of the Velvet Revolution in Eastern Europe in 1989. Civil resistance, also called disobedience or non-violent direct action, NVDA, which is Extinction Rebellion's preferred term, means normally law-abiding citizens breaking rules and laws as a way to force change. So you might be asking, why haven't XR's efforts worked yet? Well, it's because there's a lot of ways that our systems don't do change. Firstly, our current electoral system. Politicians need to be popular, otherwise they wouldn't be elected or re-elected. So any politician wanting to get elected again in 5 years won't want to bring in a long-term policy that might rock the boat. Second, the constant demand for growth. Capitalism has two flaws. It is only really interested in the present, and it ignores the hidden costs that will crop up in the future. And the second one is, it assumes the environment is an endless source of resources and an endless sink of waste and pollution. That is a planet-killing fairy tale. The truth is that no matter how well-meaning one person's actions are, it will not be enough. We have reached the point where, like in our response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we need governments to give leadership and dictate the changes that we all need to make. We all have to pull together as individuals, communities and nations. The whole world must step up and fix this. XR began in 2018 with a small group of people who were deeply concerned with the looming climate and ecological catastrophe and all that that entails. We were frustrated with the lack of truth-telling by governments and media, the failure of action, and we were inspired by the research on civil resistance. Anyone who adheres to our principles and values is part of Extinction Rebellion, and we have 3 big, clear demands. The first demand is for the government and media to tell the full truth about the situation we are in. That means the kind of information we covered in the first part of the Deepwater series of talks. The government must declare a climate and ecological emergency and work with the media and other organisations to communicate the urgency for change and for global climate justice. Secondly, we demand that the government must act now to halt biodiversity loss and reduce greenhouse gas emissions to net zero as soon as possible, in a just way, today, not at some vague future time. And thirdly, we demand that governments must create and be led by the decisions of a citizens' assembly on climate and ecological justice to decide how to act. This way, they hear the common sense voice of the public, and their actions will be grounded in real life. This man may look alone, and you might think that it's how you would feel if you joined XR, but the truth is that close by there were supporters ready to step in if he became distressed by some of the public responses. There was a first aider and people watching out for ambulances so that he could move if there was an emergency. There were people waiting to deal with the police if they arrived. People with his details ready to respond if he was arrested, and someone ready to sit inside the police station or wait outside 24 hours a day, ready to give him a hug and some coffee when he was released. And one step behind that, there were trainers, legal advisors, risk assessors, artists, people doing press releases, and much, much more. He will have learned what his rights were and how to remain non-violent no matter what happened. He would know who else was doing this across the country, and they would be getting together later to talk about what happened and relax together. The truth is that we have people from all walks of life in XR. Whatever your skills, whatever your abilities, there is a place for you. Just like this man, you will not be alone. We are autonomous and decentralised, and we have hundreds of groups working away on different things and all coordinating with each other. There's no hierarchy and there's no bosses. It's an amazing movement to be part of, because you don't feel that you need to get through lots of layers of permissions to do something. And we want to build the kind of culture we would like to live in. one that we would all like to live in, one that supports life and our own flourishing. This includes lots of emphasis on looking after each other, building a sense of belonging, taking time to reflect and learn, respecting our own and each other's needs and feelings. We know we are in this fight for a long time, and we need to help each other to be strong. You can visit the XR website for all sorts of information on our demands, our values, events, how to join a group. You can also sign up for the XR UK newsletter. And if you've got your phone on you right now, you can just take a photo of the QR code and it'll take you straight to the website. And if you'd like to know more about the climate and ecological emergency and about XR, please attend a Heading for Extinction talk. You can find these events either by visiting the XR UK website and select the Events button, or you can go to the XR UK Talks and Trainings Facebook page. Thank you for watching XR and how to join us. Next, in part 5, Deep Water, Tell Us More, we're going to tell you all about XR's Deep Water campaign, why we exist and what we're doing.